I breathe. Want to sing it with me? Stand. Feel it. You are the air I breathe. Your holy presence living in me. And I'm grateful for you. And I'm grateful for you. One more time. Really sing out. Feel it. You are the air I breathe. You are the air I breathe. Your holy presence living in me. And I'm grateful for you. And I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for you. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Another beautiful day out there, and we have a lot of beautiful people in here. And now all we need to do is make the rest of the world beautiful. And the way we do that is by being keenly aware of the divine presence that's available to all of us and living from that divine presence. Speaking of the divine presence, is there anybody here from another unity today? Raise your hand. Okay, we're not going to give away the Lexus this morning. Is there anybody here for the first time? Raise your hand up high, please. Raise your hands high. We have a gift for you. Coming right up. Look at this. Okay. This girl here. We got another gentleman over on the side over there. Oh yeah, over there. Oh, we have people here. We have people over there. We need a couple more ushers. All right. We have some people over there that didn't get a gift. Okay. We are here by divine appointment. That's why we're here today, by divine appointment. Because as we put together the truth in our lives, we influence so many other people. So the more and more people that put this truth to work in their lives, what they are doing is actually helping to heal the world. So we shouldn't bemoan all the limitation that is taking place in the outer directed world. What we should do is confine our awareness to the presence of love, peace, and joy in our own lives and spread that where we are, and we will be helping to heal the world. You are going to love this talk being given by Syntysche.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to also welcome you to Unity of Boulder, those of you who are joining us here in person and those of you who are joining us online. We're very excited that you choose to share this time with us and that we get to share it with you as well. It makes our week, so thank you very much. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Mike Shadle. I'm the administrator here at Unity of Boulder. One of the things I take care of is rental space. So if you ever have any events at all, big or small, we rent out pretty much every room in this building. So please give me a call the office, ask for Mike, and I'll deal with you. We'll get you all set up. Anything, birthdays, weddings, whatever. So we have a few announcements. We've got just a few small things coming up, like Easter. Easter, as you know, is coming up in 2 weeks, and that is going to be right here, live in person. We will be live streaming it as well. We'll have a 9 and an 11 a.m. service. We do ask that you grab tickets. You can get them in the lobby, in the bookstore, or online. Grab an extra one or two to bring a neighbor, a friend, a family member who's never been to one of our Christmas or Easter services. And as you all well know, we like to put on a good show. So please come out for that and bring whoever you can with you. But since we've got Easter, we got a whole bunch of other stuff coming up around it. This coming Saturday, we're going to have our palm cross making, where we make little palm crosses that we hand out to everyone on Palm Sunday, which is next Sunday at both the 9 and 11 a.m. services, which Jack will be speaking at both. But this Saturday, we have our palm cross making, where we make the palm crosses over here in Fellowship Hall, but at the same time, we're also doing an all-church indoor and outdoor cleanup. So we're doing all this at 10 a.m. So if you have any time that you'd like to come spare, even an hour, to come help clean something inside or outside of the building, we would love to have you join us and help us out with that. Just make this building look as beautiful as we all know it to be. So please join us for that. We are also having our annual Easter Lily fundraiser, where you can make a $15 donation and get an Easter lily that we use to decorate the sanctuary through our Easter season. And you get to dedicate it to a loved one or a friend who has passed. And then following our Easter service, you can take that lily home with you. So please ask it. You can do that right here in the lobby or online. So just let us know if you have any questions about that. And also next Friday, it's Friday, April 15th. We are having a Good Friday service right here live in the sanctuary at 7 p.m. You don't need tickets for it, so just come on in. Jack and Norma always like to put on a good show for that one as well. That's actually one of my favorite services we do, so come check that out at 7 p.m. on the 15th. And last but not least, following this service today, we're having a potluck that everyone's invited to join in Fellowship Hall. If you have a dish to bring or to share, please grab it, run home, grab it, bring it back. You're not required to bring any dishes to share, but if you do, that's great. But if not, please come join us, hang out, let's have a good time, let's chat. So now I would like to introduce today's special music. Our special musician is no stranger to most of you, as he's usually standing right over here playing the bass. But today he's on piano. We've got Joel Plimmer. Joel, you need no introduction. Take it away, sir.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you. So I always try to do new stuff when I come here, and I just wrote this one a couple weeks ago with a gal named Roberta Smithline. She's out in New York. And it's written for the people of Ukraine and Vladimir Zelensky and that whole situation. So this song's for them. It's called Stranger's Prayer. You don't know me, and I don't know you. But I see the suffering you're going through. We're oceans apart, miles away. Although our language is not the same, I understand enough to feel your pain. So I pray for hope, I pray for peace, I pray you find your courage in each heartbeat. I hope to God in some small way, somehow these simple words will help you through the storm, to get you through the night and find the morning waiting there. This is my stranger's prayer. My stranger's prayer. Every night been on my knees, sending you strength on angels' wings. I know you're scared, but standing tall, you fight prepared to take that fall. You are a living inspiration to us all. Yeah. I pray for hope, I pray for peace, I pray you find your courage in each heartbeat. I hope to God in some small way, somehow these simple words will help you through the storm, to get you through the night and find the morning waiting there. This is my stranger's prayer. If just one mustard seed of faith can move that mountain far away, why is it still in your way? I don't understand it, but I'll still plant it. And I pray for hope, pray for peace, I pray you find your courage in each heartbeat. I hope to God in some small way, somehow these simple words will help you through the storm, to get you through the night and find the morning waiting there. This is my stranger's prayer, my stranger's prayer. Thank you.
Always a perfect way to start when you're playing, Joel. I just love your music. I love your passion. I love that piano playing. Oh, such good stuff. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity. My name is Syntysche Groverland. If you don't know who I am, I'm the spiritual leader here at Unity of Boulder, and I'm happy to share this sermon with you today. Today's topic is remembering Spirit's desire implanted in your soul. As many of you know, I wasn't here last Sunday. I was away with my daughter at a dance competition, who's 14 years old now, and my last sermon was about her coming into her wholeness and the process of what COVID had done for her. It really took her into a deep depression, and she lost all of her friends in school, and she really had lost her sense of self and was really facing some deep, dark stuff that I feel was carried in from another lifetime. And I had moments where I didn't know if I was going to be able to help her come into the power that she is. And so to be able to have done that service 2 Sundays ago, and then to witness last weekend her performing in front of so many peers and all levels of dance. I mean, it was an unbelievable experience. I felt so blessed. I felt a part of everything, witnessing this experience through the eyes of a 14-year-old who has found her power, who's found her voice, who's found her truth. And just to be this observer of what Spirit can do through us when we're open to letting it move in and through us as expression. So I wanted to share this slide with you. I'm going to be doing lots of quotes from the book, The Only Thing That Matters, by Neil Donald Walsh, that our book group is studying right now, and I just feel like it's not fair that only like 25 of us are getting to get this wonderful food spiritually. I felt we had to share it with all of you today too. God's desire is implanted in your soul, which is the aspect of your being that is the essential essence, the part of you that carries the divine impulse throughout this lifetime, and indeed through all lifetimes. The soul is also the aspect of you that remembers this. It never forgets. It cannot forget because it is the memory itself. And so the soul is constantly aware of all there is to know throughout eternity. Your mind, on the other hand, is simply a storehouse of present life experiences. All things are one thing. There is only one thing, and all things are a part of the one thing there is. This one thing has been called by many names. It has been called life. It has been called the essential essence. It has been called the energy. It has been called Allah, Brahma, divinity, Elohim, God, Jehovah, and a host of other names as well. It does not matter what name you use. It is the only thing there is, and you are part of it. Because you are an integral part of it, it is only natural that what you want at the heart of your being is what it wants at the core of its existence. For the purposes of this discussion here, we are referring to the one thing there is with the word divinity, and occasionally called God. So when we are looking at our life and contemplating the soul, he goes on to talk about how the soul already knows what is needed to be expressed at this time, at all times. But the only way it moves in our life is to move what the soul knows into the intellect so that we can manifest in this experience. And something happened to me when I was reading that this last Tuesday. I went into meditation. And it's just weird how you read all these spiritual books and they're all saying the same thing, but sometimes somebody just words it in a way that all of a sudden you just get it. It's like, I just got something. It was this feeling of a revelation, and it was something so simple as, my soul knows what I need to do about any difficult circumstance that I'm facing in my own life, which, I live in the world as well. I don't want to be of the world, but we do operate in this world. So therefore, we have conflicts with people, and we have issues with schools and things of, you have two teenagers, you always have stuff going on, But if my soul already knows what is needed in anything, then I only have to connect to that. And then that gets planted in the mind. I have to visit what that something is and then bring it into the intellect. But a lot of times we're doing that backwards. We're trying to force this law of attraction of holding an idea in our mind's eye, but it's not really believed, or there's not faith in the outpicturing coming into abundance or showing its face, right? So to be with the very essence of the soul. So if what one desires is known by the soul, and if what you experience tells you that you should desire is held in the mind, then the challenge and the invitation of life is to bring the two together. With the soul informing the mind, expanding the mind, enlarging the database of the mind, so that the mechanics of reality creation produce a new and grander experience of who you are. Of who you are. And we wonder, why can't we just live in that? I know there's so much pressure and denseness in this world right now. There's so much things to be upset about that we can get caught up in a trail of despair at the moment and wonder, how could this all be of the divine? All this upset, all of this upheaval. And yet, when we realize that we are a part of the whole picture. We're not just one piece of the ocean, we are the ocean. So we have to take to task what we're moving into. Are we going to take to task that there is this soul that innately knows from so many lifetimes that which is needed of us in expression? And what I was sharing in my last sermon about hitting this bottom with my daughter and thinking, how am I going to bring her into her wholeness when it was a beingness that I had to move into? I hit the bottom as far as intellectually fixing her. But the current of love was all that was being called. Holding a space of love and pumping that into her being, building up every aspect of her soul till she remembered who she was, that power that lives within her, which lives in you, and you, and you, and all of us. But we forget that when we start to look at the fragmented world of falling apart and the collapse of so many things that are needing to collapse. Unfortunately, we're losing people in that process too. So we ask, why can't we rise to this level more often? Like that aha moment when I had that moment of, so all that's being asked of me is to know my soul. And my soul knows what's needed in any given situation, because in that is where my direct connection with God is. So that means we got to start taking the task, what are we putting our energy into? Why can't we rise to that level more often? And it could be because some of the moments when life's conditions are inviting you to absorb more of the awareness of your soul, your sponge is full. You cannot soak up any more of the ocean and simply needs to be wrung out. Like, what are we placing in our mind's eye that's the fuel of our life? What are we placing in our being? What are we feeling about life? In these moments, your mind loses touch with your soul. When we're looking to the news and we're looking at Good Morning America and we're looking at this Will Smith situation that just has gone absolutely crazy, we watched a person that fell from grace, that made a mistake. And I just love the whole idea that we just want to make this guy like out to be this terrible person. And poor Chris Rock, who received that. But that's a visual of what's going on in this world right now. We know Will Smith's a great person. We also know Chris Rock is a great person. But if you've never made a mistake in your life, then you should be judging them, right? We're judging, how could this person... In the Bible it says, quit pointing out the speck in somebody else's eye when you have a log jam in your own, right? But it's just so much easier to point out there that someone else is bad or less than, or we make them, when this was just a terrible moment in somebody's life. How many of us all had that moment where we fell from grace? Unfortunately, or fortunately for us, there wasn't cameras everywhere. Fortunately for us. Everywhere, and every direction. I mean, you just can't believe how this thing is just snowballing. And you know what it is? It's a distraction because we don't want to watch the war. It's like, well, here's another bad thing we can look upon. So what are we filling that sponge with that's keeping us from connecting with the soul? So in these moments, your mind loses touch with your soul. Forget some of what the soul knows and images that you are being attacked or are about to be and must defend yourself. See, a lot of us are walking around in a state of fight or flight. It's kind of this protective state because things don't feel safe. The ground we're walking on feels like it's cracking. But the only one that believes in the illusion of the cracking is us looking to the world that's falling apart. What about these subtle power energies that live within us that can put a solid ground underneath us? Because as all of us do that, we build consciousness. We raise the consciousness for the healing that we want to see in this world. So, this last Tuesday, I was talking about I had a meditation where the veil was pulled back for me, and I've had that happen maybe 5 times in my life, where there's just this clear moment when the physical is much less than the spiritual moment where something is moving in and through, and everything's okay. Everything's wonderful. It's like you're in the midst of God's energy, just that love. And I was being shown all the different times in my life where I've missed the mark, where I didn't take the road that I should have probably taken, and then that kind of took me off, and it kind of made me lost for a few years till I found that road again. And I was really shown all those different times that I missed the mark, and man, if I could have just adjusted there, where would I be now? That kind of a thing. But in the midst of it, I was observing all of it. And what I felt about myself in the times that I took those paths that weren't probably the best ones to resolve whatever. And this feeling of love came in and through my being towards myself. This deep empathy and compassion of what it feels like when you do feel that you're separate and apart from this greater power. that fall from knowing your divine nature and making decisions and moving towards that energy. And it was made really clear to me that there were no wrong paths. There was no wrong road. That was the only way I was going to be able to meet my soul. I had to fall from that unity, that divine connection, to feel the urge and the need of the want of that connection again, so that it was deeper when I revisited it. And we all do that. We kind of go in and out of this energy, and this deep empathy and love that I felt for myself also made me think about the deep love and empathy that I have for all people. See, when we can really look on ourselves with the kind of love that we deserve, then we express that vibrationally out, and it changes. It truly changes, much more than our own particular life. So this is what many of us have been doing, just merely surviving through all of this, with all the discord going on in the world, all the unrest, all the disturbances, and yet it could be a call to check out how full your sponge is. This is a call, like Jack was talking about this today. When things are difficult in your life, you have to go into introspection. All this out here is not calling us to look more and more and have more anxiety and panic, but many of us are just being in panic and anxiety and aren't sleeping well. Instead of looking at what can I shift inside of me. So Neil Donald Walsh gives a list of things that we think may be the path that we need to go on, but these are some of the ones that aren't the actual path to go on. So is our sponge full of what is wrong with this world? Is it full with fear for the future? Is it full with the chaos? Or is it being filled with what really matters? So some of the tracks away from the path: the pursuit of security, the pursuit of success, the pursuit of power, money, happiness, sex, popularity, peace, social justice. None of these trails are the path, but all of these can look from time to time exactly like the path, appearing to be the walkway that will take you where you want to go. If the first step toward the actual path is what you believe about God, the purpose of your life, and about your soul, the second is moving into clarity about where you want to go. Clarity into where you want to go. It's not this pursuit of money. It's not the pursuit of, when I achieve this, then I'll love myself. Or it's not the pursuit that someday we're going to get to this place where we finally can be with self, know thyself, and love thyself. The pursuit is that first. And then that in expression takes us to what we desire, or what the inner urge. I don't love the word desire because it sounds, I don't know, a little selfish. The divine urges that you're feeling in your life. You may be thinking, you know what, I've been in the same computer career for 35 years and I'm empty. And I love cooking. And I want to switch to the cooking. I want to do what this urge is. We really have to do that. We have to be brave to have the moment where we finally give ourselves the life that will prosper because it's in us. It's urging us. We can feel it in this innate way. Why is it harping on me all the time? And we keep ignoring it, right? Instead, we listen to the monkey chatter that's constantly telling us why we shouldn't do it, why we won't survive, why we will lose everything, right? When we're ready to do a big shift in our life, instead of, wow, I'm living with this constant inner urging, and I'm denying my soul's unfoldment by staying stuck and complaining in this stuck place, but it's just too fearful to move into the frequency of the being that's going to be an unfoldment that's going to blow not only your own mind, but everybody around you. And then you're a way shower to those around you that you can have faith in this greater something, that everything is always working out for you. Everything is always working out for you. It's all for you. But it's us that keeps us separate and apart from this greater divinity that is guiding and directing every aspect of life. So how do we connect with the soul? How do we listen to those urges instead of the monkey mind that throws us to and fro? What is the soul? The soul is the spiritual or immaterial part of a human being or animal regarded as immortal. The spiritual or immaterial part of a human being or animal regarded as immortal. I just love the things that are not of the physicality. Like for me, I just love basking in opening, like pulling that veil aside. I want to see into the spiritual. I want to see into the miraculous. I want to see how I can be in alignment with a current that flows and is enjoyable and surprises. And it's like being in childlike wonder again, that life is new because we're getting out of this old belief system, old habits that keep us living small and separate and apart. So the soul is hungry for meaning. And when things in the outer world manifest as health issues, relationship troubles, and a life that lacks meaning, this is often a signal from the soul. One of the most common symptoms I hear comes in the form of a question. What does it mean if you feel something is missing in your life? How many people feel like there's something missing in your life right now? Is anybody brave enough to call out what that is? Come on. It's just, there's no cameras in here. Love. Companionship. Abundance. Peace. Purpose.
Labrador retrievers.
What did you say? There's a lack of laboratory retrievers? Well, then just go out and get yourself one. Oh my gosh, I totally am behind all of those. If anybody's feeling sad in this world, if you don't have a dog or a cat, I think you should go get one of those right now. They're like everything. I mean, come on. I'm telling you, that dog of mine, Gilly, that love, that when I'm wandering around in the middle of the night, having that panicky feeling of life and all of it, and I just hold that guy and it's like, it's everything, you know? It's just unconditional love, and it reminds us of how we, like they say, we want to be who our dogs see us as. Right? That's an amazing spiritual virtue. So what does it mean if you feel something is missing in life? We have to pay attention to what expands your energy and what constricts it. We all have a life force energy that flows through us. This source of energy is a sign from our soul that helps us navigate the forces in our life. One force is fear, which is constriction, and it drives us to remain the same and in our comfort zone. The other force is love, expansion, which urges us to move through discomfort in order to become whole and in alignment. So, like, check your body when you're feeling like you're not ready to move forward with something. Feel what it feels like. You felt that feeling when it's just, you realize you're not sure if you took a breath in the last 10 minutes. You've ever had that, like, I don't think I've taken a breath. And you know how your body will, like, force you to take a deep breath. Deep breath into love, into expansion. So when something isn't meant for us, our soul withdraws energy. This withdrawal of energy most often shows up in our relationships and our work. This is often a message that we are outgrowing our current situation and are meant to make some changes. This is what I'm talking about, because I don't think that all this discord in this world is just about what's going on in this world. This discord's happening in us. It's unearthing all the things that no longer serve us. Are we doing things every day that we don't like to do? I mean, obviously there's still dishes to wash, you know, and like carpets to vacuum, but literally like things that you're just like, gosh, I just want this to change. I just don't want to accept this anymore, right? Then you have to look at yourself and go, why am I accepting this? Why am I still allowing this to drive my life if this makes me so unhappy? And it's always fear. It's fear of the paycheck not coming. It's the fear of a new place of living, possibly. It's the fear of if this divine urge is there to make a difference or make a change, then you have to follow it. And you are in bliss when you listen to the truth of your soul. You know when you're in it because you lose time. You're in it. You're in it to win it because you now don't have time. There's a sense of freedom. You've given yourself your life and you've given it abundantly to yourself. So we have to establish regular practices that enable you to tune in and ground yourself. We need to create space in our lives in order to connect with our inner wisdom and guidance systems. Practices like meditation, mindfulness, prayer, journaling, and contemplation create such a space. This takes me back to a time about 12 or 13 years ago. I was home in a chaotic day with my 2 children who were both under 3 years old. I was going to full-time school at the time. I was working here full-time and had 2 babies, and I had a 14-year-old teenager at the time. I was so lost from myself. I was so busy being a part of the doing and couldn't find any time for the being. I was just keeping those kids from electrocuting themselves. It's just like everything was just like survival, you know. And this one day I just was supposed to be working on a paper for school, and I had this big kitchen with an entrance on both ends, and I put a gate in there so the 2 could just crawl around so I could just sit and write this paper. But for some reason I just started searching online for different things, and I discovered YouTube. Can you imagine? Like, we all depend on YouTube, but this is the first time I ever found YouTube, right? And I typed in the Indigo Girls because I went to all their concerts and I love their music. And I fell upon a concert that I had been at 10 years before and got to watch the concert that I had been at before children, you know, when it was all about me and, you know, just this and I just got carried away, and it was emotional. And it was amazing. And I remembered who I was in that moment. And I realized I had to find a way to start being with myself while I raised these little kids, that it wasn't a survival thing. I needed to enjoy this. I needed to find a way to take care of me so that the glass was overflowing, so that they'd be blessed by my energy, because I'm sure my energy was strict, probably, and even, you know, short-winded and harsh. So I had to wring out my sponge in that moment and take time for myself with all the responsibilities that I had. And I made a commitment to myself that, first of all, I was not going to let my body look like this anymore, because that's another reason why I was really depressed, because I had 3 babies in 3 years at that point. So I was working on all of that. And soon after that, I discovered Nia Dancing, which is a form of all forms of dance. It has some karate involved in it. It has, it's just a very good high-intensity dance with great music in Lyons. And I started attending there, and I found a group of sisterhood, of all these women that I danced with 3 or 4 times a week. And they were literally calling me back to my soul. Every time I was there at the end of the class, I would just weep. And there was a sense of total oneness with these women. And everything changed from there. I haven't ever left the dance after that. I realized that dance was my creative outlet. That was the thing that made me remember who I am, being that I grew up in dance, but it was also the community. I needed a community, right? I lead a community here, but I also need a community where I can grieve and I can face, and I had just lost a baby too a few years before that. So there was a lot of things I was facing. And these women sang and danced me back into my wholeness. And that's what this is all about. That's what community is about. To not be doing the spiritual journey alone. To be able to speak this language and mirror to each other this grand, beautiful love that lives at the core of our beings. Jesus said, "They are not of the world, even as I am not of the world, that they all may be one, as thou, Father, art in me, and I in thee, that they also may be one in us, that the world may believe that thou hast sent me, and the glory which thou gavest me I have given them, that they may be one, even as we are one, I in them, and thou in me, that they may be made perfect in one, and that the world may know that thou hast sent me, and hast loved them as thou hast loved me. And Jesus is the way shower of what we can do. What we can do in expansion. Every time he was going to work a miracle or transform a life, he always went up on the mountain. He always said, he goes to this higher state, go to the mountain, up the mountain, and he would pray, and then he would deliver a miracle. Or he'd go through the top of the roof. They always show that he's always going up to this higher place before he would heal somebody of their blindness. We have to get to this higher frequency energy to connect with what is possible in unfoldment as us in this world. That Christ potential is us, but we keep ourselves separate and apart because we want to believe in the ills of the world and bring that into our systems. Unless you don't want to anymore. Unless you're ready. What your mind thinks about something is crucial in determining how you experience, and gratitude can cause you to change your mind. Yet gratitude is not a tool with which to fool the mind. It is a tool with which to open the mind. It expands your normal, limited thinking to include a counterintuitive truth that even when something seems bad for you, it can actually be good for you. And this is like the bad for you. You know, obviously we put the meaning of whether it's bad or good. You know, we're the ones that come up with that. But if it's bad for us, like if we think it could be bad for us, but it's good, it could be because it's pushing us to go inside and witness why this feels bad so that we can change it. It's just, sometimes it's just the tuning of one string of a guitar. It's that simple to put yourself into the flow of the spiritual life. And sometimes it's having to change all the strings on the instrument. It depends on how much you've been keeping up with your soul's development and your memory of your soul's knowing. And so we say, thank you, God. We give thanks for the opportunity to heal old injuries, to close an old wound, to alter an old pattern, to shift an old reality, to release an old story, to change an old idea, and to create a new experience of self and life. You can depend on life to be repetitious. Very few events or situations arising in your life will be much of a surprise to you anymore. Not in the sense of you're never having experienced anything like them before. How you are going to react then can actually be anticipated by you. And you can reject your prior decisions about such events or situations, if you wish. And that is life's greatest secret. This is so important right here. Oh my gosh. The greatest secret is not the law of attraction, but the law of retraction. This is a tool used to retract old decisions and make new ones instantly. That is what true creation is all about. When you bear witness to your response to life's current events and immediately retract what you decided in the past about similar events, you give yourself almost unimaginable power, including the power to end struggle and suffering forever. Ooh. But you know what that means? Nobody gets to do it for you. You have to take to task how the repetition shows up in your life. Different guy, different girl, different job, but somehow you keep getting this current of some stupid thing that keeps repeating itself, and you're wondering, why do I have to face this once again? Because you're still facing it and reacting with the same way you reacted when you were 20. And so then it's going to be a repetition, so it's going to come back in another year. Are you going to face this differently? So I took the task, some situations and some difficult things that I've had to people that are family and beyond that, you know, we all handle life from different places and we don't always agree with how people do things. But what if you could stop reacting in a way that you lose your peace, right? You lose your peace And they don't even know that you've lost your peace. And you might even be pissed for like 24 hours because, again, you're reacting the way you always reacted. Instead of facing a confrontation or a situation that it seems to be repeating itself, and for once, you retract. In the Course in Miracles, they call it the holy moment. You have a choice in this moment. You don't have to respond. You can merely observe. And if you don't have a new healed way to interact, then leave. Sleep on it. Let the truth of that moment show you why it keeps coming up for you, because you'll see there's other things that have nothing to do with this person. That's probably in some innate thing that came with you in this lifetime for you to heal so that you may become the expansion and do the works and the miracles that Jesus did just through you because you faced your stuff. You faced what you brought in here. And those currents and these people that decided to show up in your life to bless you, to make you this mad, we can say thank you, because I'm going to retract now and find anew. I'm going to look at the situation from a new lens. This is for me. This isn't out to get me. This is for me. And once you do that and you practice that, your life will be yours. And you will have it abundantly in a beautiful, beautiful way. Each soul is entering the material experience, does so for those purposes of advancement towards that awareness of being fully conscious of the oneness with the creative force. So each soul in entering the material experience does so for the purpose of advancement towards that awareness of being fully conscious of the oneness with the creative forces. I love the word creative forces, because that's why the dancing is so healing, or the singing is so healing for me. But you fill in the place, that thing that you do. You could be a woodworker. You like to garden. Somebody was talking about her gardening all day yesterday, and she's so sore from head to toe. And she's filled with light and happiness because she loves it. It's her thing. And for me, I'm like, ugh, I don't like gardening, right? But I could feel that invigorates her, having her hands in that dirt, in that soil. It's different from all of us, but all of us have that something that connects us with this inner, innate knowing. And do more of that. And watch how you can retract in those confrontational moments and have the right answer, or the power to leave until you do have the right answer. So, the night of the show on Saturday, we stayed at the hotel in Westminster, and that was the night that the competition happened, and all the judges are all Broadway stars and amazing, huge, big-time people that are judging all the dancers. And I was blown away by they would speak to them after each performance, and they would speak to an individual dancer that might have been off and like kind of left the choreography or whatever, but there was something about the way that they talked to these young people that were anywhere from 14 to 18. There was such a kindness. I just want you to know that I really enjoyed this dance today. I just think if you stepped into this much more, they're not going to take their eyes off you. You're going to be the best one out of the whole group, right? Like it was always, I was a dancer, and in my life, if there's any dancers here, they were very critical, and it was actually very abusive dance back in my day. So to watch how that current has changed to empower these young people instead of break their spirits, right? So there was this number. I was sitting in the front row, and there's a dance team out of Denver that I don't think these kids go to school. They must be dancing 12 hours a day. I mean, the abilities, every single one of these kids could be famous on Broadway someday. I mean, they were amazing. But there's just one boy out of the 600 girls that are at this competition. And this guy, you could not take your eyes off him. This kid could dance he was amazing. But he started this dance, and then 6 more people came and joined them. And it was very kind of like a military, kind of a Michael Jackson type of old school dancing, back in my day. And it was so amazing. The costumes were great. And there's all the older kids at first. And then it went 14 to 11-year-olds started appearing. And then these little teeny tiny ones that had to be 6 to 11 years old. As this music is growing, And these little kids are just as good as the college-aged kids. And there's a moment where there had to be 60 kids on the stage doing the exact same movements in unison for 5 minutes. I mean, I'm getting chills just thinking about it. And I'm in the front row, and it's like the power of the energy of these kids dancing so precisely, so in unison, so in oneness. They're not looking at where they're standing. They connected with this spatial something, this oneness, this, not a hand, not a nothing was out of place. And by the end, it was like my chair, I was pushing the chair back. I didn't realize, but I'm literally balancing the chair because the energy of these kids. And when the dance ended, I just was sitting there just sobbing. It was so powerful. It was like when you're watching a whole group of birds moving different directions and they all do it at the same time, but to see humans finding that oneness in dance, and they are having fun. These kids were together. The judges had nothing to say to them. It was the most incredible dance I'd ever seen in my life. And we are that. We're looking for that oneness where we're moving in and through each other's lives in beauty, in intuition, and knowing when it's time to move, because we're so innately connected to this soul, this life force, this divine essence, that we don't question ourselves anymore. We live in the power that God gave us and stop pointing out the ills of this world. Thank you.
Once again, inspired, we have freely received. Now's an opportunity to give back and be part of that energy that is in giving that we receive. And as we recognize that, we find that our lives are all about giving and receiving, and it just grows in harmony, peace, love, and healing. So, as we prepare to do this, I'd just like to remind everybody that's watching online, you're welcome to join us here. The crowd is growing a little bit every Sunday, and we'd like to have as many of you show up and just join in the energy that's here and being shared. But right now, if you want...
And I wrote it for the Groverlands, actually. I'm writing it for them, for you guys. And it's kind of a retrospective on the last 15 years I've been here. And I've just been kind of nostalgic because we're going to Nashville. We're moving there in August, so I'm kind of really appreciating my time here, and this is a song about that. It's called If There's No Tomorrow. I started as the sound man 14 years ago. Then I finally joined the band the day Rob had to go. My mom would watch on live stream as we watched the years go by. I'm thinking if there's no tomorrow and we only have today, before I move 1,000 miles away, I wanna say, Norma, Jack, and Syntysche, I owe a lot to you. Although they're in California, my boys both know what's true. The unit teens and lockdowns were locking down their roofs. I'm thinking if there's no tomorrow and we only have today, before I move 1,000 miles away, I wanna say that I'm excited for tomorrow, although it's bittersweet and it's hard to leave, 'cause part of me will always be here at Unity. There's nothing bad about it. There's just good in this goodbye. I'm thinking if there's no tomorrow and we only have today, before I move 1,000 miles away, I wanna say I'm excited for tomorrow, although it's so bittersweet. And it's hard to leave, 'cause part of me will always be here at Unity. Here at Unity.
I have to give you a hug. This is so sweet. We love you.
Hey, thanks for that. Appreciate it.
What are we singing?
Shall we all stand and sing?
Finlandia?
Yeah, Finlandia. This is different words that were put together by somebody, I think at Unity. It is the most incredible song. This is my song, O God of all the nations, a song of peace for lands afar and mine. This is my home, the country where my heart is. This is my home, my dreams, my shrine. But other hearts in other lands are beating with hopes and dreams the same as mine. My country's skies are bluer than the ocean. The sunlight breeze on clover leaf and pine. But other lands have sunlight too and clover, and skies are sometimes blue as mine. Oh, hear my song, thou God of all the nations, a song of peace for their land.
And so you guys know this song. Now you can sing this last verse.
Bring peace, O God, by my almighty power, within the hearts of those who worship Thee. Thy love and truth shine through all for me. Thou God of nations,
just stay seated in your seat. Our prayer partner will come and pray with you. And don't forget, we have the potluck. This is how we build community. We have some fun questions we're going to put out there, and we're going to share around the table. And even if you're not hungry, just come and hang out for a little bit. And we'll start that in about 10 minutes.
Right.
Thanks for coming today.
Okay.